Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of No More Kids in Scientology. Today, you guys, we're going to be discussing what we, as a community, were able to witness for ourselves in a full-blown corroboration of the facts that existed when we ourselves were that child that tried to escape out of the blue building, desperate to find a place where she could possibly be helped. Yesterday, we all witnessed a horrifying scene outside the blue buildings that should shock the conscience of any Angelino and all of our international viewers and supporters that have joined us on this mission to advocate for the kids that apparently no one wants to help, much less advocate for. A minor, rattled and visibly distressed, made a desperate attempt to flee the clutches of Scientology's big blue building of horrors, only to find herself trapped once again, not by cult handlers alone, but with the help of the very institution sworn to protect her, the LAPD, an institution that this child was adept enough to literally call out as, please don't call the cops. They're in on it. Let's make sure that that is understood. The child herself said, do not call the LAPD. Imagine the type of reputation the LAPD has to have for kids of Scientology not wanting to have anything to do with them, with being so disgusted by what all of them have observed for themselves, how their Scientology parents, Scientology handlers, are all very chummy with the police people, with the LAPD in this case. We're not even talking about the Clearwater Police Department because that's a whole other story for a whole other day. Instead of sheltering this child and offering her a way out, the LAPD stood by, brought in her alleged Scientology father to manage the crisis, and watched as in the end, this young girl was reportedly taken back to the very environment she was trying to escape from. This was more than a missed opportunity to save a child in need. It was an act of collusion with a known abusive system. This isn't a one-off oversight either. The LAPD's actions here fit a chilling pattern of deference and blind allegiance to Scientology, one of the most corrupt, secretive child trafficking for profit organizations hosted and tax subsidized by Los Angeles, shielding abuse under the guise of religion and family. The minor's desperate attempt to escape mirrors the experience of countless of us who as children raised in the confines of Scientology hotels and commercial buildings were delivered there by our own parents into the oppressive world of their beloved convicted felon L Ron Hubbard. Our parents paid adults, sycophants of a full-blown convicted felon. Scientology's founder, L Ron Hubbard, ensured that no one, especially minors could ever leave without retribution. This was groomed to us very, very early on in our childhood, you guys. So don't think that this was a thing that the Scientology parents said, well, you know what? We might be all about supporting these extremist rhetoric being pitched by this convicted felon because we do like it rough for ourselves. But you know who also should like it rough, just like we like it? Our own children, because you know who are not children are children. They're not children. Only idiots on the WOG world would call a child, because the convicted felon said that children are thetans. So you just splatter a word salad name on a child and strip him of autonomy, strip him of independence, and strip him of his actual age in the physical universe of their physical body. Because they purport you wouldn't want to be an animal. You wouldn't want to consider yourself an animal. You're not your body. That's how Scientology parents do it. That's how they groom their kids to be subservient, to normalize abuse, to take the abuse and write wins after you get abused. Imagine what type of degenerate you have to be to abuse a child and then tell the child, you know what you really need to do in order for this abuse to, just stop for the time being? Write a success story. Convince us that you're loving this abuse. If you don't write a win, if you don't write a success story, the abuse does not stop. And it's these success stories that they're weaponizing against the child to say, well, look, you've been writing that you love it here so much, so why do you want to leave all of a sudden? Why? What changed? What made you want to leave? Well, glad that y'all are asking this question. Finally, we're getting to the questions that need to be asked. Hubbard's technology asserts that any defectors from Scientology, including but not limited to kids, are blowing, which is another word salad term, leaving without permission is what they mean. Oh, you don't want to be caught blowing because then we're going to send security out to get you. Who did you all see out there looking for a child in the streets, desperate? Who is going to get in trouble for this? Ask yourself. Ask yourself that question for all of you that are here listening to all the dysfunction that so many kids that grew up in Scientology have taken up on themselves to spill their guts on YouTube. Because what else is anyone supposed to do? When there is no system, when there is a complete lawless system being upheld by these cities that are subsidizing a state-sponsored child trafficking of minors. For anyone who's wondering, anyone who's like, oh, I'm so confused, I have no idea how this works. It's called state-sponsored. Stop being confused. Start looking at the facts and start confronting what it is. Stop being told, I was told that it was a very, very religious place. The directives of L Ron Hubbard, including, but not at all limited to, using coercion and illegal control. You all saw how that man was manhandling the child. And it set off a ton of alarms. I still haven't even gotten back to all the DMs, all the messages that I've gotten since last night from so many people that were shattered to have finally seen what we have been talking about, what we have been denouncing, what we have been advocating for incessantly, all to go in one ear and out the other. The kid will be punished. Any kid who tries to leave, who tries to blow, will be punished. And this is especially egregious considering no kid can consent to what's being done on its face. L Ron Hubbard says that a blown student only blows because he has overts and withholds, hidden wrongdoings, things that you've done against Scientology that if they got found out, you're going to get into ethics trouble. So a child like her would have been told, you only ran out desperate because you have been committing overts on Scientology. So what harmful acts have you committed against Scientology that we haven't found out about yet? Are you going out 2D with your father? Are you going out 2D with him? Are you giving him any of these? Have you done this to him? Have you been 2D flowing him? Have you done this? Have you gone out 2D? Including but not limited to that. But apparently, the only ones who have no idea that this could ever happen are the idiots at the LAPD. Clueless. They have no idea. Anyone who wants to leave is told that they are guilty, that their dissatisfaction or their terror with the organization is then treated as proof of their wrongdoings. So this child runs desperate, trying to get someone to help her. The actual fact that she ran away is going to be used against her and told, you only ran away because you are a degraded being. You only ran away because you are out ethics beyond. Every single one of you that has commented on our videos, every single one of you that has watched our videos, every single one of you that has contributed to any single person giving an F about this child is what she is going to be made responsible for. She's responsible for y'all watching all of this content, and that's going to be blamed on her. See what you've done? Do you see all these SPs are out there now threatening the legacy of the convicted felon that all of these Scientology parents are worshiping with a full-blown straight face, including that father or handler of hers? Because father is a title that who knows if that man even has, and who knows if that man can even deserve. Given that all Scientology parents sign up to turn themselves into handlers. Who wants to be a father when you can just be a handler? Who wants to be a mother when you can just be a handler? Who? Who just wants to trade that? If you are a parent that hates your kids, sign up for L Ron Hubbard's disgusting program, and you will be turned into a handler. Compliments of a convicted felon. So any of you who really want to, hate your kids, by all means, sign up. They probably have a lot of incentives this week for you to get a special package They're always putting special packages out. Every week they're selling a special package inside of those commercial buildings and hotels for Scientology parents. You want to be turned into a Scientology parent? Sign up. Sign here. Sign here. Sign here. Send us a wire. Call your business manager. Tell American Express to send us $100,000 because it's going to cost you. It's not going to be done for free. You're not just going to have a complete power trip at the expense of your kids. Call that a religious experience and all is going to be for free. How dare anyone think that Scientology could be that cheap? It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you children. It's going to cost you something. That's how the program works inside of these hotels and commercial buildings for all of you who are still clueless about what in the hell this is. Children attempting to escape are viewed as, the next one is, a person who blows has other intentions. This is a quote from L Ron Hubbard. They are actually aiming to harm. They are enemies. Translation, anyone who wants out is guilty. Their dissatisfaction or terror with the organization is treated as proof of the wrongdoings, and their belief system is exactly what traps children in Scientology, even when they're visibly distressed and clearly in need of intervention. A person who blows has other intentions. A child that's trying to run, like the one that we saw yesterday, isn't seen as needing help, but is seen as an enemy who must be subdued. L Ron Hubbard called it the enemy condition. You are in a lower condition, is what you were told as a child. You acted as an enemy of Scientology. You are in treason. You betrayed us after we trusted you. Treason. Do the treason condition. Oh yeah, this is all pitched like, oh, this is going to really help you. This is going to really help you. You have no idea how helpful it's going to be for you to sit in a room and write down the type of treasonous criminal you are. As soon as you admit it, we can upgrade you to your next condition, the condition of enemy. Find out who you really, really are. As long as you admit that you are an enemy, find out who you really are. I'm a disgusting child that left the disgusting hotels because I am not wanting for mankind to get better. I want mankind to suffer. I want my parents humiliated because they are trying to save a world, and I am completely against saving a world. So for all of you who are very confused as to what happens at the Scientology handling, that is what a child is being handled on. Find out who you really are. You are an enemy of the state. You are a disgusting, degraded being. Suppressive persons are fair game, according to L Ron Hubbard. The infamous Scientology policy encourages members to destroy the lives of defectors or anyone who poses a threat to the Scientology's crooked child trafficking so-called executives. Any child attempting to leave will be ruthlessly tracked down, punished, shamed, and all with the full endorsement of L Ron Hubbard's policies. That's all it took. A convicted felon typed a bunch of BS on a piece of paper, and all of a sudden, his sycophant surrogates paid. They paid to be a sycophant. You just cannot be any kind of wishy-washy sycophant of L Ron Hubbard. If you don't pay, you're not a member. If you're not vetted, if you haven't shown that you really have the loyalty to be that level of sycophant, you will not be allowed to set foot inside of the hotel. Ask yourself why that is. Really do ask yourself. Even worse, their pain is ignored because Scientology teaches children that they are Satan in a small body, capable of making adult decisions and responsible for their own suffering. For pulling it in, because they are told that, only a degraded being would ever create a problem like that for Scientology. The LAPD is fully aware of these policies. Repeat, the LAPD is fully aware of these policies. Officers know that children raised in Scientology are robbed of the right to a normal childhood. They're stripped of their innocence, systemically stripped off of their innocence. There is no innocence to protect when said child is an adult. And they are denied their autonomy. Time and time again, the LAPD defaults to their stance of deliberate, convenient, hand-selected ignorance. They refuse to investigate, to challenge, or to even question Scientology's so-called family matters. Their silence is complicity and tacit agreement to let Scientology handle its own. A stance that allows for rampant child abuse right under the nose of LAPD's leadership and all adults who today stand as witnesses to the utterly unthinkable. Instead of enforcing the law, the LAPD acts as if its hands are tied. Oh, our hands are tied. Can't do anything. It sucks to be us at the LAPD. We can't enforce the law. We can open the law in the books and see, oh, aggravated child abuse is a crime. Oh, where did that apply? Oh, Ruby Frankie. Oh, Ruby Frankie. Did she go to jail because she was committing a serious aggravated child abuse felony? Oh, but she said she really wanted to pull the demons out of the kids that she was having in handcuffs, right, LAPD? Imagine if Ruby Frankie's kids wouldn't have been in Utah, they would have been in California under the LAPD. The LAPD officers would have been like, oh, it looks very religious, this environment right here. Carry on, pull the demons out, pull them out. Really want to respect everyone here. Even though it's a minor that is involved and something that they cannot consent to be a part of, much less consent to be exposed. The kids don't know what in the literal hell these weirdos are doing, what in the literal hell these weirdos are saying. If they don't acquiesce to the abuse that all adults are getting off on, it's the child's fault. Not the Scientology parents' fault, not the Scientology mother's fault, not the Scientology's father's fault. Is the child who's being blamed by their parents, by their ethics officer, by their auditor, by their case supervisor, by the commanding officer of the so-called organization to save our world by enslaving kids with full impunity. Because everybody knows, everybody video records it, everybody transcribes it. There is no person that has a shred of plausible deniability inside of these hotels and commercial buildings. It doesn't exist. L Ron Hubbard said, record it all, put it all on video, become completely complicit, and then it's going to be all legal. That's all it took. It's all it took. So for those of you who are confused, maybe they didn't know, They all knew because the convicted felon said to do that. And no one gives themselves, God forbid, oh my God, who am I to tell L Ron Hubbard that he's out of his MF mind? That's how pathetic these Scientology parents are. Oh no, I wouldn't want to invalidate L Ron Hubbard. He was really on a roll to be a humanitarian to save a world. They're all puppets in a racketeering, child trafficking conspiracy that is aided and abetted by the LAPD. So let that fully sink in, leadership of the LAPD. Stop playing dumb. Stop being told that you've never heard of anything, because you know what? Your officers have had plenty of eyeballs and access to those hotels. Your officers have had plenty of runaways leaving these hotels that none of you have ever prosecuted. Show us the evidence. It's the time for the LAPD to show us the evidence that they do their job. We are telling you, y'all are not doing your job. No matter how much you get paid, no matter how many taxpayers pay your salaries, 6 figures, cushy jobs all over the place, and you won't help a shred of child. Because all it takes is, well, you know, the traffickers give us overtime. The children aren't going to pay us. So, you know, maybe it's just going to help the ones that pay us, because, you know, the children don't have money. Like, why would I help a child if they're not going to pay me? By the time they're taxpayers, you know, I'll be retired. So why would I give an F at the LAPD? Why? Instead of enforcing the law, the LAPD acts as if its hands are tied, pretending it's a private matter, even though a minor is involved. But this kid running away desperately is to blame, right? Or was it possibly a cry for help from a child desperate to escape? Which one is it, LAPD leadership? Those are option A, option B. Are we blaming the child? Or was the child in need of help? Is it A or is it B? That's an answer that the LAPD leadership is at best pretending to be so dumb and clueless. They have no idea what happened. They have no idea what anything is going on. They've never heard of any child having a problem inside of those hotels and commercial buildings. Never heard of it. Never seen a shred of evidence. Never seen any strings to pull at the LAPD. They just wear permanent rose-colored glasses. Must be nice to be you, LAPD. That doesn't get locked up against your will. That doesn't get deposed in audits without your little advocate there. Oh no, I'm an officer. I need an advocate. You idiots get advocates. You know what? The children don't. The children inside the Scientology hotels get deposed without a lawyer. Why does that happen? Why? Why is that happening right now as we speak? Why? What type of religious experience is a full-blown criminal deposition? No boundaries, no parameters, no, oh, don't ask about that. Oh, you don't have any evidence to be asking those questions. These MFers ask whatever in the hell they feel like asking, LAPD. So stop being confused. Stop being told that it's a very religious environment. You are all been put on notice by L Ron Hubbard himself. Come to find out, because it was that convicted felon that wrote to do that. So before you play dumb, before you play stupid, before you say Mike Rinder told us that he was really wanting to save our world and it was very religious and it's very 501c and the IRS is all about it, and who are we to do anything about anything at the LAPD? I mean, why would we enforce the law if we're getting paid for that? I mean, why? Why? Everyone can see that when presented with an actual live example and a chance to, maybe intervene, maybe help, maybe advocate, maybe give an F, the answer is always no. We don't give a shred of an F at the LAPD. Children can go defend themselves. Better luck next lifetime, Scientology kids. Keep having your religious experiences while we keep cashing checks at the LAPD nonstop. Why does the LAPD want to stop this relationship when the children aren't going to pay them their little overtime, their little special favors, their little fruit baskets that Janet brings around? Oh, here's a fruit basket for you, LAPD. We love you all. Thank you for continuing to help us so much. I mean, you see what on a mission we are to save our world, don't you? Any chance to intervene, the LAPD plays dumb, choosing instead to let Scientology dictate the terms and bring in her alleged father, effectively her handler, to really smooth things over, to really handle it. Oh yeah, we can handle this, LAPD. We have really great technology pitched by a convicted felon. You have no idea how effective we are at blaming their kids for their own abuse until they stop complaining. You have no idea what a 2-week course inside of a hotel teaches you. A level of self-entitlement that puts these parents in the category of self-made, full-blown degenerates. Go look up the definition of a degenerate, Scientology parents. Make a lot of sentences with that definition. Make clay demos of that definition and then turn yourselves to the federal authorities because, good luck getting any help from the LAPD. Bypass the LAPD. Go to the feds. Go to the upper authorities. They gave Scientology consenting adult handlers all the power, standing by as this young girl is dragged back into a nightmare, you guys, that is way worse than whatever she was running away. See, that's how they handle the children. They make examples out of them. Oh, you don't want to have happen what Savannah did last week, because what I tell you is runaways from Scientology hotels and commercial buildings happened on a weekly basis at Debbie Cook's hotel. Every other week, there was another child that left. There was another child found by the beach. There was another child trying to run away at the airport. They were always nabbed. They were always grabbed. They were always made an example of. They were always humiliated in front of everyone. And they made sure to send a message. Oh, yeah, we really want to get the ethics in. We really want to get the ethics in. Make sure no other child ever thinks of blowing, because blowing is a crime. Right, LAPD? That really tracks, right? Blowing is a crime. Right, LAPD? That really, really tracks, right? That makes so much sense. Her nightmare's just going to get worse now as a result of having dared to commit the crime of daring to advocate for herself even a tiny bit. Scientology will make sure that level of confidence is admonished, destroyed, and wiped out because the girl will be put to, wash dishes, go to the bathrooms and clean them with muriatic acid to get out of her conditions. Oh, just remove some asbestos while you're at it. That's the type of punishments that we're having us do, LAPD. So don't think we just made up those. These are literal handlings that Debbie Cook prescribed to kids wanting to leave. Oh, you want to leave? You want to blow? Remove asbestos with no safety guards. Remove asbestos. You're disgusting. You are degraded. Make sure you cognite that that's who you are. If you want to stop removing asbestos with no safety guards. Remove asbestos with a little scrapey. Just scrape it off. Scrape it for hours. This child's abuse is about to have a nightmare that is only going to get worse. Whatever she was trying to escape from is about to get 100x worse. Whatever she was pressed about, whatever she didn't like, whatever audit she didn't like, whatever ethics handling she was trying to run away from, whatever disgusting grooming course she was being made to do, well, now she's on a completely different level of abuse that, she hasn't experienced yet because, it only gets done to you when you blow. If you are a robot minion acquiescing to all of the abuse and saying everything is wonderful and L Ron Hubbard is amazing, you're just going to be kept on with the program. No, we're not. We're going to treat you really well if you really do what we say. This isn't just disturbing. It is a complete failure of the most basic responsibility of law enforcement, which is to protect. When children try to escape abusing environments, law enforcement should be, you would think, you would assume, you would hope, their first line of defense. But when children that are finding themselves in Los Angeles trying to escape Scientology, they might as well be on their own. Help yourself. You pulled it in. That's what the LAPD says to the children too. So don't think that this is just the Scientology parents doing it to the kids. Do not for a second think that it's just the Scientology parents blaming the children. It's also the LAPD. It's also the LAPD. Oh, why did you blow? Oh, you should not blow. No, you're just causing trouble. Oh, you're just a runaway. Oh, you're just wasting time. Oh, we're not going to send anyone to go and help a child that's running away, but they'll send helicopters. And they'll send 10 cops. Because Scientology, we don't want to be protested. Oh, we're being protested, LAPD. Send your choppers. Just let that sink in. How many times has the LAPD sent 10 cop cars, helicopters flying all around? And what were they doing? Can anyone ask? Can anyone say? Can anyone find the videos so you can see the evidence that we have on video on your disgusting pattern of systemic corruption, LAPD? It's called systemic. It's called y'all have no other mode but corruption, corruption, corruption. You just keep pressing that one button. You're so one-track minded is not even funny. And it's all on the record. It's all right there. So before you go, oh my God, we've always tried to help. You have not, LAPD. It's now your turn to prove, to show us evidence. Show us the evidence. Show us how many kids have you helped that have been abusing those hotels. Because so far, we have the number minus 0. Minus 0. The LAPD's inaction isn't just incompetence. It is complicity in a system of control, coercion, and abuse, aka LAPD. And do get your notebook and write this down. Textbook felonies related to child trafficking. And do go get a legal specialist that gets paid upwards of 6-figure salaries in Los Angeles to start sorting your legal we can sort out the law. The law's so confusing. The law is common sense. How about that? The law is simple common sense. In black and white, you'll have more legal advisors than anyone could possibly have at their fingertips, and yet there is not one single legal advisor in the entirety of the corporate apparatus, going by the moniker Los Angeles Police Department, that has stepped up a shred to do what in the hell they go and cash checks. They get paid to do what exactly? Not help children that cannot help themselves. Nope, not interested in that. Doesn't give revenue to the city. Why would we care? Just continue cashing your L Ron Hubbard surrogate checks, LAPD. Just continue. Because the receipts are right there. The monetary transactions are right there. The favors that y'all thought you were hiding so well, all the children were told that y'all got paid. All the children were told when you were sent a fruit basket to really safe point you. The idiots is you. The ones that couldn't be more gullible, as if you're a bunch of infantile, pathetic children, is the people that work at the LAPD, blinding themselves, poking your eyes out at this point. That's what in the hell you must be doing. Just grabbing a pen and just shoving that up your eyeballs, blood coming down your eye. Oh, we can't see anything. Oh, what illegal activity? No. Oh, Scientology is calling. Oh, send the choppers. They're being protested. God forbid someone protest kids being abused, right, LAPD? Because you'll come hard on anyone who protests a child being abused. Oh, then you're going to see repercussions. Then you're going to find yourself in handcuffs. Then you're going to find yourselves with legal bullshit wrapped around your neck. But if you want to child traffic a child, come to Los Angeles. The LAPD is going to hook you up. Scientology has effectively managed to create a human child trafficking pipeline disguised as religious freedom, with the LAPD serving as its unblinking enforcers. Meanwhile, we have a city that prides itself of having progressive values, humanitarian causes, yet one that continues to shelter Scientology's systemic, institutionalized crimes against children at an industrial-sized scale. So all of you Angelinos, start thanking yourselves, because it's y'all who are subsidizing this garbage pitched by a convicted felon. It's y'all who have not consented. So adult grown men and women that you are in Los Angeles, start doing something about it and stop going like, oh, but I mean, whoever wants to do whatever, then I guess it's a religious freedom. That's what we were told. Stop being told. Start looking at the facts and stop being told the garbage pitch that these people put together to prop up their disgusting criminal racketeering conspiracy that is fully state-sponsored. Mayor Karen Bass, who stood at the podium lying through her teeth all about how she was going to be informed and do the right thing and protection and transparency and reform. And that, Karen Bass, is what is nowhere to be found. There's no protections for any children being trafficked in those hotels or commercial buildings. There's -0 transparency. And there's absolutely no reform. Nothing has changed in the decades that L Ron Hubbard ordered his surrogates to put children in the same level as a full-grown adult man or woman. It's the men and the women that abuse the kids. Don't think this is just, oh, the men were so abusive and the women didn't do it. The women were just as abusive, as disgusting, as scathing, as unhinged, as sadistic. They're all sadistic clowns of a convicted felon who Charles Manson loved, by the way. So before you get very confused, oh, we've never heard of this. Charles Manson, student of L Ron Hubbard, the convicted felon that the Los Angeles city gave an entire street name after him. Just let that sink in. Soon we'll be changing the name Sunset Boulevard, Charles Manson Boulevard. Why not? Let's start petitioning that. I'm sure it'll get approved. I'm sure if you pay someone in this corrupt city of Los Angeles, you can change the name Sunset Boulevard to Charles Manson's Boulevard. It would be so easy to implement. Just put Scientology on it and they'll figure out who they need to pay off to get it accomplished. Karen Bass even managed to speak to Short Story Factory and maker of all manner of sanitized lies, misrepresentations, and BS talking points galore, Mike Rinder himself, to really, find out why it was tone deaf of her to share a stage with David Miscavige, praising Scientology and convicted felon L Ron Hubbard. Because Karen Bass was, up for VP nomination for Joe Biden. And imagine this is what sunk her hopes. And imagine she went, oh, you know what I really need to do? Launder my image. Oh, you know who I really need to call? Mike Rinder. That would be a great idea, to call Mike Rinder to launder my image. I hear he's great at laundering images. I hear he does it pro bono. I won't even have to pay him. So here we are with children crying out for help as they flee abuse, and the LAPD under Karen Bass's administration is siding with the criminal child trafficking abusers. Mayor Bass, where is your voice on this matter? Where is your integrity? Because you must not have a shred of it, as evidenced by your actions or lack thereof, that speaks louder than your empty air coming off your mouth as you waste valuable oxygen with nothing being done to rein back lawlessness subsidized by your own office. How long will you let Scientology's child trafficking continue to be subsidized by the city of Los Angeles, Karen Bass? When is enough for you? By all means, you and all the other Hollywood celebrities who are industry enablers, facilitating this level of lawlessness and calculated abuse of minors. This is all highly illegal. This is all highly unethical. This is all inhumane. And yet here we find ourselves with nothing having changed in decades of these abuses being done, conducted with full oversight. So again, anybody who thinks, oh, well, it's like the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was abusing kids. hiding it. Scientology abuses kids and records it, video records it, transcribes it, sells packages based on the evidence that they're gathering for themselves. That is what the convicted felon pitched to do in the audits, in the ethics handlings. And that's why you have disgusting grooming courses that, all of a sudden give you all the entitlement in the world to be doing just that. The children trapped within Scientology's blue walls deserve the same protection as any other child in Los Angeles. Yet we've been treated as if equal treatment under the law is just one of those many, many platitudes that get just blabbed about. Oh yeah, the law's all about equal treatment, you guys. Everything has to be very equal. Well, if you are a child that grew up in Scientology, you will have no rights. They will be stripped from you. You will be blamed for your parents being sycophants of a convicted felon, like you really pulled it in for yourself. And you get told, better luck next lifetime. Bye. As long as the LAPD remains in Scientology's pocket, those children will continue to suffer isolated and unheard, trafficked, stripped of all autonomy, compliments of this recklessly lawless state of California. We are calling on Mayor Karen Bass, LAPD's leadership, and every elected official in Los Angeles. It is time to break the LAPD's silence and sever its unholy, corrupt AF alliance with Scientology. No more kids in Scientology because kids cannot consent whatsoever. Period. Full stop. And let's just take a look at Karen Bass, just so we really contextualize her situationship here in regards to how up to her neck and ears she is totally looped into the problem.
So that's why I first have to say that this day and this new church of Scientology is an exciting moment because I know your goal and your commitment is truly to make a difference.
So Karen Bass purports to know. She knows, she says. She did her research, you guys. Not great that Karen Bass did her research and knows that they really want to make a difference. They want to make a difference wrecking children's lives, Karen Bass. You're right about that. They want to make a difference wrecking children's innocence. You're completely right about that. But that's not the type of difference that you're literally purporting here. You know all about from having done your full research about what they are, right? This is the blue building that the girl escaped from, that the child escaped from, that countless children have been escaping since L Ron Hubbard started dictating his surrogates to become disgusting, depraved abusers and literally have a religious experience at the expense of a child. So this is the time, this is the place, and this is where Karen Bass literally finds herself telling everyone how much she knows and how much she's done her research here. And all you see here, it's all Scientology parents, all Scientology adults that help themselves to underage kids, that get provided this level of depravity available for, a good tax write-off that they can just write it off. The IRS said it was okay. We can just pay for a child auditor, paid for a child to handle my ethics, pay for a child to supervise me so I can do the grooming, disgusting courses. This is all people that are doing that. There's not one single person here that is, unaware. Oh, we thought we were saving a world. Oh, were we enslaving kids? Oh, well, we were told that was called the Sea Org. We were told that was called a billion-year contract. Oh, Oh, we were just so confused. I mean, we really thought we were going to save a world together.
It is my belief that if we really want to change this world, it is important that we think about how we treat each other.
Oh, you guys, it's Karen Bass's belief that if you really want to change the world, then we really have to change how we treat each other. So why are the children in Scientology stripped of their autonomy, coerced, and exposed to disgusting grooming courses, disgusting role plays by audits, Karen Bass? Because that would be great for you to really tell us how that is helping our world, since you are sounding more and more like an L Ron Hubbard surrogate yourself.
We have to treat all people with the respect they are due as human beings.
Unless you're a child, right, Karen Bass? See, this is how sneaky politicians, get their little pitch out. Oh yeah, really respect everyone as if they're human beings, except if you're a child. If you're a child, you have no autonomy. You can be degraded. You can be punished. You can be, falsely indicted by Scientology's ethics department and all call that a religious experience. You can be dehumanized as long as you have rich people here that are coming to see you speak at this disgusting thing that you're all about, apparently, Karen, because, you are definitely giving those Scientology vibes.
And we must fight against oppression wherever we may find it.
We must fight against oppression wherever we may find it, except if the oppression is done to children. Then Karen Bass doesn't give an F. If children are being oppressed, then you know what? Who cares? Better luck next lifetime to those kids. Right, Karen? That's what's on the physical universe. So before you go on projecting, oh, how could you say that about me? Take a look at your record, Karen Bass. It's your record that starts to speak for itself at one point. It is the year 2024, in case you have forgotten to check the calendar. In case you have no clue what year you're in. You are in the year 2024. And in how many decades since you gave this speech, you've done nothing.
That is why the words are exciting of your founder, L Ron Hubbard.
Of your founder, L Ron Hubbard, not Karen Bass pitching a convicted felon. Not Karen Bass pitching a convicted felon for herself. Like the people that are paid surrogates of this convicted felon, okay, Karen Bass, they can maybe say that, but what type of pitch are you really showing L Ron Hubbard, a full-blown convicted felon that your team could have found out for you by just Googling, is L Ron Hubbard a convicted felon? And it would have come out with the type of information that, maybe you shouldn't have been all about citing the creed of the Church of Scientology, because that's what she's about to say. Oh yeah, you guys really wanted to make a big difference, right? Because the creed of a creed of a creed is really all it took to purport that all you have to do is write a piece of garbage paper full of lies, and then all of a sudden no one can see through the facts.
The creed of the Church of Scientology, that all people of whatever race, color, or creed,
all people of whatever race, color, or creed
are created with
equal rights, unless you're a child that grew up in Scientology. Then you have no rights. If you happen to live in the city of Los Angeles, then you'll have no defense by the LAPD. Then they won't give an F. They won't come to your rescue. You can cry, you can scream. They'll return you right back to your Scientology handler, because you will have no equal rights whatsoever. Got it.
Equal rights. It's a remarkable credit to your church that this is part of your creed.
Oh, it's a great credit. Remarkable, says Karen Bass. It's a remarkable feat that you really wrote down a garbage piece of paper that no one gives an F about inside of that hotel, because they are paying to get their freak on with a child. So who the hell cares that the creed says this and the creed says that when the child is locked up with an adult against their will inside of these blue buildings, inside of these industrial commercial buildings that the city of LA is all about propping up. It's all about servicing. This is what's being serviced. And Karen Bass believes this is very remarkable that a convicted felon wrote a bullshit piece of paper that no one gives an F about, and that's all it took. That's literally all it took.
The Church of Scientology, I know, has made a difference because your creed is a universal creed and one that speaks to all people everywhere.
Yeah, and apparently it really speaks to you too, Karen Bass. Apparently it really does speak to you too. So imagine being you.
I look forward to helping you bring about the difference for everyone.
Oh, she looks forward to helping. Scientology. When did you stop helping, Karen Bass? Because that would be a much better, interesting answer that we would like to start hearing for ourselves right about now. Now that we have you on the literal public official record that you're there to help them, and help you have, even since becoming mayor, you have been extremely helpful. So you've definitely come through with your promise of helping them. That's what we do have evidence of. You helping these people, you doing everything you can to help these people.
The city, this golden state of California, and from here, the nation, and from the nation, the world. Thank you very much.
And you see, guys, when I say these are infantile idiots, this is exactly what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's really cut a ribbon. Let's really put a lot of balloons out in the air. Let's really put L Ron Hubbard here. And oh, we really are so special inside of these hotels, especially because every single Scientology parent that finds themselves there has already donated their children to be made fair game for other random adults to abuse them. That's what they're making the fair game about. The kids are fair game. Oh, you want to audit that kid? Go at it. Oh, you want to go do an ethics handling on that child? Go do it. Oh, you want to do a disgusting grooming course with that child? You want to do a disgusting grooming drill with that child? Do it. No one's going to give an F. The LAPD will never come. Karen Bass will never raise any issues, and everything's going to be great and wonderful. And let's really celebrate. Hip, hip, hooray. Disgusting. So just so that anybody can go, oh, well, maybe Karen Bass. That's what Karen Bass has said on the record. That's what, there's no evidence that she's ever done anything to help. There's no evidence that she gives an F. There's no evidence that she has ever reined back her LAPD. That is, you know, something that she does have power over, right, Karen Bass? You do have power over the LAPD. So imagine being you that has full power and oversight over the LAPD. And imagine you going to this man, Mike Rinder, Mr. Something can be done about it, except if you're a child and nothing's going to be done about it and you're just going to be blamed for being essayed. Right or wrong, Mike Rinder? With your little tagline, you've always been saying it since back when you were in the hotel. That's what you would tell our parents. Oh, you guys, the psychiatrists are so evil, but you know what? Thanks to me, something can be done about it. Well, something needs to be done about you and your disgusting corruption, your disgusting level of knowing everything about all the criminal acts that you were laundering for adults inside of these hotels. All the children that you were tapping to do this type of laundering of felonies, Mike Rinder. And since you were about having on speed dial your little attorneys, you really should start explaining yourself. In what world were you so isolated and not knowing anything about the law to know that you were not full of complete and utter shit, as you were literally violating the law, existing above the law, and using the idiot attorneys that ever thought they should really be having an attorney-client relationship with you, given the fact that you were unhinged, given the fact that you were such a sycophant of L Ron Hubbard, given the fact that you were his publicist, given the fact that you put L Ron Hubbard on the New York Times bestseller list. So here's Mike Rinder talking about how Scientology's become a key issue on the LA mayoral race between Karen Bass and Rick Caruso. Of course, Scientology's freaking out as their good name, ha ha, is being used to smear opponents. Very, very funny, right, Mike Rinder? Ha ha. Do you see how he does the image laundering, you guys? It's right here. Little Mike Rinder that finds everything so funny. Little Mike Rinder that, wants to laugh it up. Because, isn't it just so funny that kids are desperate leaving these hotels and commercial buildings, Mike Rinder, and you're nowhere to be found denouncing any of this yourself. Oh no, you guys, I stepped off the boards. I really want to, go into my self-care era. You've always been doing self-care. You've been doing all the self-care in the world, Mike Rinder. You've been covering your disgusting, corrupt ass with crimes at the yin yang, coming out of your ears, coming out of your nostrils, coming out of every orifice that's in your body, full of criminal acts, decades of being looped in. So before you want to really claim that you had no idea, double check that fake pitch, because no one's gonna buy it anymore. Literally no one. It seems that Mayor Karen Bass ill-advised participation in a 2010 ribbon-cutting ceremony. So just so we know here, Karen Bass, you've been on the record 14 years helping. 14 years of children being abused inside of those hotels and commercial buildings, and you not giving a single F. This came up 2 years ago when Representative Bass was touted as a possible VP candidate to join the Biden ticket. Thank God. Thank God you didn't join that ticket, because you would have sunk it. I have some relevant information on this matter, both from my time in Scientology and subsequent to this becoming an issue in 2020. Well, great. Great that you're so looped in, Mike Rinder. By all means, tell us. Tell us how you did it. First, Scientology has always made a massive effort to get politicians to attend their events. Was it Scientology or was it you that was over PR, Mike Rinder? Because when you say Scientology, one might as well say, first, me always made a massive effort to get politicians to attend our disgusting BS events. It was a way of gaining credibility. Oh, look at that, Mike Rinder, what you don't have a shred of today. Imagine being you that has zero credibility. Imagine being you that has the entire public record to denounce what a bold-faced, pathological, self-serving liar you actually are. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for actually putting the evidence here so that everyone can see it with their own eyes. I talk about getting the president of the California State Senate to attend the ribbon cutting of the L Ron Hubbard live exhibition in my book, A Billion Years. Oh yeah, your little live exhibition, right, Mike Rinder? All your lies that you literally, put up as a museum of lies of your pro bono client, L Ron Hubbard, the one that you were like, let me just get everyone to think he's a humanitarian. Let me grab a painter from Australia, aka Miriam's mother. Let me bring that woman from across the world to LA. Let me bring her and her 3 underage kids so that I can really impress a senator, says Mike Rinder here. And he really wanted to make sure that you knew he wrote this in his billion lie book. A Billion Lies is what your book is called, Mike Rinder. You have a misunderstood word on your title. It's called A Billion Lies and Counting. My escape from a life of delusion at the highest ranks of Scientology, by Mike Rinder. Go get y'all's copy ASAP. Here's Mike Rinder talking about how, he thought it was a feather in his cap. Imagine that, Mike Rinder. Was it also a feather in your cap to traffic Miriam and her 2 underage brothers? Or nah? Or was that not a feather? Because that's who you used to, really impress a senator for yourself. Mayors and other dignitaries being persuaded to participate in this ribbon cutting over the years. Some of them have been prominent. Rep Charlie Rangel participated in the ribbon cutting of the New York Orr building. The mayors of Buffalo, Sacramento, and San Francisco all attended Scientology building openings. The approach is used. So again, for anybody who's wondering, why doesn't anybody do anything? It's state-sponsored child trafficking. How many mayors are implicated by Mike Rinder himself right here? So far, we have Buffalo, present. Los Angeles, present. San Francisco, present. New York, president. So state-sponsored all across the U.S. So for any of you who are wondering why nothing happens, because Mike Rinder implicated all mayors in sanitizing his garbage chain of hotels that he was very pressed to convince the IRS were all part of a scheme to really save our world, because his daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard, really wanted to do that. Right, Mike Rinder? You really did believe that lie. The approach, says Mike Rinder, is to bring through Scientologists who are wealthy contributors of campaigns, or one of Scientology's hired lobbyists or political operatives, state-sponsored. Mike Rinder, all political operatives out there, you're fully implicated in child trafficking at an industrial scale. Congratulations. All of you that want to start figuring out who these political operatives are, by all means, start going back wild. Start investigating who are these political operatives. Who are these lobbyists, enablers of Mike Rinder's delusions, that he was on a mission to make sure they got approved? Again, for anybody that doesn't know, Mike Rinder was over all legal matters. So as much as he wants to point the finger at David, yeah, Mike Rinder was doing David's bidding. But who had oversight over all legal matters, Mike Rinder? It's called you. Who had attorneys on speed dial? The best of the best is what you were really into, right? The best of the best. Oh yeah, we really get the best attorneys. You have no idea how good they are. How good at being your surrogates. How good at putting their law licenses on the line, because you are a complete pathological liar, Mike Rinder. You sneeze and you lie. You fart and you lie. You shit and you lie. There's no human vowel moment you do that is not a lie, because it's all right here. It's all right here. Lucky for us, we have an entire trove of all your lies. These people are provided talking points that they can cover, and many of their speeches were actually written by the people at the Office of Special Affairs. Oh, so you were writing the speeches, Mike Rinder. Oh, thank you for admitting to that. Got it. So for all of you who know why Mike Rinder is such an esteemed person that really stepped off of boards that he should have never been in, if he had any self-awareness, if he had any shame, if he actually knew what in the hell he was doing, oh, never mind. Turns out that he does know what in the hell he's doing. Because he's at the very top of being the handler of the politicians. That's Mike Rinder for you. The handler of the corrupt politicians. They show up. Oh, I also talk about this in my book with Charlie Rangel. Oh, not you, Mike Rinder, giving us every type of PR thing that you pitch yourself to do. Charlie Rangel, who is a complete and utter idiot who wrote whatever in the hell you told them, I'm sure. They show up. They're treated like very important people. They deliver speeches and go on to their next appointment. They should do more research about what they're endorsing. Yeah. Yeah, they really should do a lot more research about what they're endorsing, Mike Rinder, especially when you are the head of what's being pitched. They really should have done their research on you. That's what should have really happened. Nowadays, they can hardly persuade anyone to show up. Even the lowliest fringe dignitaries are not willing to show their faces or any sort of Scientology events. Of course, Karen Bass should have known better in 2010. See, Karen Bass, there you are being thrown under a bus. Because you really should have known better. You should have done the one research. Is L Ron Hubbard a convicted felon? That's all you had to research. And then you should have said, you know what? Pass. I'm not going to do that inauguration because I just found out that this convicted felon that I just spent, my time praising and saying he really wrote amazing things, turns out he is nothing but a convicted felon. Today, there are plenty of officials who get suckered by Scientology into attending their events and providing cookie-cutter endorsements who wish they had never heard the word. Thanks to you, Mike Rinder. Again, who propped this up, Mike Rinder? It didn't prop up by itself, did it? When the 2010 ribbon-cutting incident blew up in 2020, Karen Bass reached out to Leah and me to ask us about Scientology. Oh, look at you, Mike Rinder. Always making yourself available to sanitize an image. We answered her questions and she watched episodes of The Aftermath. Oh, great, Mike Rinder. You answered her questions. So if Karen Bass has no critical thinking skills, like what is on the public record she doesn't have, if she only asks you softball questions, then you just answer whatever. Oh, I just answered whatever they asked me. Oh yeah, I'm willing to cooperate, you guys. I'm really wanting to, I'm rooting for the day that my cooperation is really, shown for how little it actually matters, because you're just a complete liar, Mike Rinder, writing all this garbage, all this shit with no shame at all. I don't know much about the position of either candidate, but I don't tend to discuss politics on my blog, as it usually is a subject that usually ends up in flame wars. Well, imagine being you, Mike Rinder, that was really, discreet about, oh yeah, you wouldn't want to discuss politics. How about discussing all the child brides that you were having marry across state lines in Las Vegas, Mike Rinder? That's what's going to make your little blog of lies go up in flames. Your little blog of, I'm really going to write part of a withhold, but not the rest. I'm really going to misdirect all my audience to paint myself as a humanitarian. I mean, if I did it for L Ron Hubbard, why don't I do it for me? Says Mike Rinder. Why don't I do it for me? I owe it to myself to sanitize my image. I spoke with Karen Bass. I know she knows the truth about Scientology. There you go, Karen Bass. There you go. You're fully implicated. According to Mike Rinder, you know the truth about Scientology. You don't just know that it's a religion that really wanted to save our world. You're supposed to know the truth. And you had access to the top of the pyramid scheme of the legal department that was all up to its neck and ears in complicity. So imagine what type of truth you really do know, Karen. Imagine. I know she knows the truth about Scientology and took the time to be sure she didn't repeat her earlier mistakes. Incorrect, Mike Rinder. Karen Bass has made no physical evidence action that anyone can point to her doing something to, in any way, shape, or form, revert the mistake. Imagine that. And if we are completely incorrect, by all means, correct the record, Mike Rinder. But, the child that just escaped, just like back in the day when, Miriam tried to escape, Mike Rinder, you know what the LAPD did? They returned her to Scientology. Isn't that great that we have patterns all over the place to show what a pathological liar you are? How you just lie and lie and lie, and you're just a delusional, degenerate sycophant of your daddy figure, L Ron Hubbard, convicted felon that you knew he was. But yeah, according to you, Karen Bass is so looped in. Rick Caruso has used Scientology as a way of smearing Karen Bass. But he has done nothing I know of to curtail their abuses. Imagine you, Mike Rinder. Oh my God. So Mike Rinder sits there in his little blog going, well, you know who's never done anything to curtail the abuses of Scientology? Rick Caruso. Because you're so good at pointing the finger everywhere else. Except yourself, Mike Rinder. Go look in yourself in a mirror and ask yourself, who has done nothing that we know of to curtail the abuses? Because if a child left the blue building and she was returned back to her abusers, guess what, you guys? Nothing has changed. Nothing. No matter how many kids have come on YouTube and denounced this shit, nothing changed. No matter how many books Mike Rinder has been selling, nothing changed. No matter how many YouTube videos and algorithms and let's really all hope that this really stops, nothing has changed. Nothing. Zero change. There's no evidence that there's been any change whatsoever. Karen Bass, I know from personal experience, has. Oh, well, lucky you and your bestie Karen Bass, Mike Rinder. Lucky you. Must be really nice to have your little bestie on speed dial. Why don't you use your little bestie? Why don't you use your little comm line to Karen Bass to, see if she can do anything to figure out what in the hell happened to the girl that was just disappeared in the middle of the night? Why don't you? I mean, since y'all go so way back and you're so personally experienced with all the things that Mayor Karen Bass really wants to do, by all means, show us the money. And I know that she will never be tricked by Scientology again. Well, she just got tricked by you. So it's not giving us a lot of confidence of this woman's capacity to have a shred of actual discernment. Imagine we see no evidence that Karen Bass has actual discernment, that Karen Bass can treat deadly serious subjects, deadly serious allegations of institutional systemic racketeering at an industrial size scale affecting minors from all over the world that have been brought to Los Angeles to be trafficked, to be used as pawns. Imagine that. In the Scientology stronghold of Los Angeles, a leader who understands their tactics and is aware of their abuses and is willing to do something about it is the best reason I can think of to elect her as mayor. Well, in what world does anyone give an F what in the hell you say, Mike Rinder, if all you do is lie? Lie, lie, more lies, more sanitization, more sane washing. which is all you did with L Ron Hubbard. You saint washed him. A complete degenerate that you saint washed. Packaged in a pretty little book. Send it to the New York Times. Can you please, New York Times, put my degenerate, disgusting grandmaster daddy on your bestseller list? I will tell all our surrogates to go buy the book plenty times so we really do see the sales. You artificially propped up everything, Mike Rinder. You're nothing but a pathetic liar walking around with nothing to show for yourself. In all these years of you blabbing and closing and opening your mouth to really want to stop what abuse? You haven't even taken a shred of responsibility for what you did to just Miriam, a child that you brought into the United States, Mike Rinder. So stop saying, oh, Miriam, you brought her because you needed her mother to do your little sham on the senator. So thanks to you, we now have this on the record. Thanks to you, we now know what really was moving you to be thought of as so essential to these politicians. So you could type on your little blog, oh, look at me, I'm so important. Karen Bass is reaching out to me to really find the truth. I will answer any question she has. Why don't you tell her what she doesn't know, Mike Rinder? Since that's available in your useless, pathetic, psychotic brain. You should have put that psychosis to use when you had a chance. You can still put that psychosis to use right now. Call Karen Bass. Call her. Tell her. Children are trying to escape Karen Bass. The LAPD just returned them to the Scientology parent. I would know because I did this hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times all across the world, Karen Bass. Don't think that it just happened in Los Angeles. Don't think it just happened in Clearwater, Florida. Don't think it just happened in New York City. Don't think it just happened in Austin City. Don't think that it's just happening in Australia. Don't think it just happened in Germany. Don't think it just happened in UK. In the entire world is where I was running my sham. So is anything really changing? The answer is no. The answer is kids in Scientology are in the same level of danger that we were as kids. It's called nothing has changed. It's called everything has been whitewashed, sanitized, because nobody wants to confront a shred of evil, and they're out there purporting that they really do want to confront evil, that they really do want to write this little article there and that little article here, and let's talk to this little politician, and let's really show the people that, you know, we're really coming clean. And yet they're not coming clean whatsoever. There's no evidence that they have repudiated anything they did that was sick in those hotels. And as long as these people are lying their asses off, the LAPD is laughing all the way to the bank. The LAPD's Northeast Division, the LAPD's Hollywood Division that is on the permanent payroll of these people, that has been for decades. It's laughing all the way to the bank because the LAPD refuses to help any kids that grew up in Scientology. Hello, pause for Andrea. Hello, Nanya. Hello, hippie chick. Thank you for being here. Lily. What shocked me the most was the gaslighting from the father about the child having an episode. Why then was she taken to the police station? That child had no voice and no advocate. Because that's, you guys ask Mike Rinder, what was the crisis management that was successful? They've been doing this for decades. Every time this happens, guess what Scientology does? What went wrong last time? How did we almost get caught last time? What do we need to, corrupt this time? Hello, Team Elvis. Thank you, Scientology up north. No more kids in Scientology. What will happen to them now? What punishment for blowing will she get? I mean, it's limitless the amounts of punishments that she can be subjected to. She could be given a tailor-made sec check. She could be subjected to hours and hours of interrogations under the fake pitch that she's getting an ethics handling. She can be forced to do hundreds of hours of amends. Because again, now she's going to be blamed for all the things that we're talking about in these lives. Like all of us discussing her situation is making it worse for her. And yet, what other choice do we have? Snaketology. He claimed that his daughter isn't part of Scientology and it was his time with her since he's divorced. So you have her part-time and she still tried to run away. That's how bad it was. And it sounds to me, you guys, that is another part of the short story. Kids are not just brought to Scientology to not do Scientology. Let's make sure that that's clear. Scientology is very pressed to get statistics. They never miss an opportunity where they can be making money. So they must have been selling something. And again, here with pause for Andrea, if she was truly having an episode, and in Scientology, they never call anything an episode, you guys. They're only calling it an episode because that is the short story. That is the short story. Very calculated word to use. Let's use a word that, we don't say she's crazy. We don't say she's disgusting. We don't tell them that we're about to call her a degraded being. We'll say, oh, we're so concerned. She's having an episode. And yeah, why wasn't medical help called? Because, episodes are handled with Scientology. Whatever turned it on will turn it off, is what that child would be told. So don't go to a mental health specialist. Why? Why traumatize her by bringing her to a police station, and why no female officers? Because the LAPD doesn't give an F. That's why. That's what Priscilla has done. I mean, Priscilla Presley, this child's father, our parents, they're all complicit. They all did the same thing. Brought their kids to their adult only play den. It's adults only in Scientology. And all adults inside Scientology know that. They were all exposed to the rhetoric of the convicted felon. They're nowhere on the public record saying, what in the hell have we done? Yeah, paging the FBI. Hello, Nona Boss. This was such a horrific thing to watch. I've been thinking about those girls all day. Thank you for trying to stand in the gap of advocating for them. I mean, again, you guys, it's terrible because we feel like we're actually doing nothing. Like, again, like I tell you, like that girl is getting raked over the coals through ethics handlings of Scientology. No one can say, no, the ethics handlings are not going to apply to her. Let's just go easy on her because she's young. That doesn't exist in Scientology. L Ron Hubbard said that whoever left and created Glutz PR for them is an enemy. She's not going to be made any more special than anyone else of the kids that ever created any problems for Scientology. Right or wrong, Mike Rinder? Really, Tia? If you listen closely to the man in the police station, he says to the little girl to see what you've done. See what you've done? See this problem you created? You're so disgusting. You're such a degenerate. Ugh. Exactly, abuses. Literally, this is how depraved the lower conditions are. That's why they expected us to believe about ourselves. Hours and hours of amends and sign a billion-year contract. That's what they made me do. Hello, Pearl. Mandy me, the neighbor said that the only reason they called the cops was because Scientology security were trying to get in to take the girl. Hello, Martha. Is it old news that Mike Rinder stepped down from the Child USA? Rinder taught the LAPD this legal BS. It is all news that came one after the other that he stepped off every board available. So very, very weird that he did that, because he's literally provided no explanation. He's just retiring to retire, I guess. Yeah, DOA had a panic attack. Rather being married, the corrupt LAPD followed the lead from the cult, smirking cops, thinking the whole thing was funny. It was disgusting. I mean, that's how they have trivialized this disgusting abuse, you guys. Like all that smirking. So we're glad that at least all of you are catching what they are actually doing. Britt, we have heard the story. Seeing it in real time really puts it into perspective. I mean, seriously. We were literally living our worst nightmare, reminding ourselves of all the kids that tried to blow Debbie Cook's hotel, only to be punished, sadistically abused by Debbie Cook, literally humiliated in front of everybody. Pearl, we have shown the massage tables and teddy bears. We've shown the dolls and the clay demos. We've shown the parents dragging their kids into the orgs. This is an escalation of willful blindness. I heard about this as well. The poor little girl was trying to give a hand signal behind a man's head at the police station. I mean, textbook trafficking, you guys. What the LAPD is fully aware to check out. Because let's not forget who the LAPD threatened to arrest. The LAPD, we were at their parking lot, came and very, very in no uncertain terms said, if y'all don't leave right now, you will get arrested, and started citing blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. We can get you arrested. If you really don't leave right now, you're going to get arrested. So I don't think this was the first time to her. She knew the LAPD was working with Scientology. I mean, we all knew, you guys. We were told. Whenever they delivered a fruit basket to these people, we were told, you guys, this week we delivered a fruit basket to the commissioner of the LAPD to really thank him for really. That's how they were doing it. We don't know, Diane. Did they release the girl to her father last night? We don't know. The LAPD acted shady AF. They brought the dad out. He went into the parking lot. They made him disappear. Then they just acted like everything's fine and great. Yeah, and that's what I've been calling it, the alleged father. At any rate, you guys, these fathers and these mothers become your handler. When you're being trafficked, it doesn't matter that you were born out of a parent. The parent relinquishes their paternal or maternal instincts, and instead they become full-blown handlers of a convicted felon. So Scientology parents are just handlers. They're not parents. They never acted like parents. Never. It's so hard to watch. I mean, yeah. And again, you guys, I mean, imagine that we are the kids that have come forward. How many decades later has it taken us to unpack all that dysfunction and all those lies and that betrayal? Thank you, Rachel. Exactly. 10 cop cars because someone was standing on a public sidewalk. Then the LAPD will really respond. But a child in need of help, oh, you know what? Better luck next lifetime. There you go, LAPD. There's our message to you. You're nothing but a walking failure, and you always fail the kids. Imagine you're like the Uvalde of police departments on steroids, on kids that are being essayed. The LAPD's like, oh no, we're very scared. We don't want to go in there and help any kids because we're scared. We heard that the hotel can do really mean things to you. We're scared of being fair game. The kids can help themselves. I mean, we'll just stand out here and just check, make sure everything is great. The kids are in clear and present danger, LAPD. So stop playing dumb. Stop being told, oh, we were never told that. Nobody ever told us that. Who's supposed to tell you that, LAPD? Ask yourselves, oh, are the parents supposed to come tell you, I'm a trafficker. I relinquished my paternal and maternal instincts to follow the words of a convicted felon, and I made my child fair game. How can the LAPD help me? I mean, you guys, if you haven't seen the video that Nora posted about Cece, a parent that grew up in those blue buildings, that did bring her kids, that is going to the LAPD to tell them that she was a criminal when she was there, that she committed criminal acts. So if Cece can do that, Mike Rinder, in what world can you not? Thank you, Kilari. Here, let's put him on blast. Alberto Godinez, woman handling the child, Zaire Mont. Both Alberto and Zaire have a packing business called Paqueteria Azatlan in Huntington Park. And the woman is not the girl's mom. Abuses. Serge isn't shouting at people. He's trying to help people understand this is urgent. Hard to do when it is triggering. I even discuss Scientology, but you feel compelled to save and protect the kids. I mean, and again, for anybody who gets insulted that we're screaming, ask yourself why the hell you're so numb. What type of adult is numb when they're hearing the type of abuses that we are discussing? It's called having the appropriate emotion concerning the subject that you're covering. This isn't a channel for you to feel good. This isn't a channel for you to get a dopamine hit. This isn't a channel for you to get entertained. Our pain and our trauma was made entertainment for those adults in those hotels. In what world do you think that Scientology children want to come here and make ourselves the butt of all jokes, the butt of all entertainment for people that want to get their little dopamine hits and find, oh, let's talk about Sinu. Let's talk about the funny aspects of Scientology. We don't give an F about the funny aspects of Scientology. So, yeah, that's the channel. This is the channel. No, it's on my bio. What in the hell we're denouncing? We do it all the time. So if you're not outraged, then that's a better question to ask yourself. How the hell can you be so numb? How the hell can you be so flat-panned with zero emotions to really understand the type of systemic, institutionalized abuses at an industrial scale that are still going on today because of numb people, like the ones that are pressed, that we're all, look, they're shouting a lot. Oh my God, you guys, let's really run away. Go. By all means, go. Everyone here has been very respectful. Just so you know, sometimes people don't understand why he raises his voice. Is the urgency? Yeah. I mean, this is not an acting job, you guys. This is literally, I mean, after yesterday, I can't even tell you, literally. But thank you, Karen. Comment, it's only obvious Karen Bass is corrupt with Scientology. When do you see city officials speaking on behalf of so-called religious groups? Exactly. Well, when they utilize Mike Rinder as their PR point person. Because little Mike Rinder, that really wants to tell us how amazingly brilliant he is, he literally just told us how he was all about propping up this strategy to sanitize the unhinged, disgusting, deranged level of child trafficking, aggravated child abuse that is all being condoned, not just by Mike Rinder, not just by David Miscavige, not just by Debbie Cook, by all grown adults that brought their kids to be abused and made fair game, sacrificed their kids so that L Ron Hubbard would be like, oh, L Ron Hubbard would love me because I'm saving a world just like he told me to. Double check on that pitch, Scientology parents. If you enslave your child, you committed a felony and you are not saving a world. So stop being willfully stupid, because you know what? It's not rocket science. That's what this is not. It's very black and white. Felony, not felony. Enslaving a child, felony. That's it. Not a matter of opinion, not a matter of personal preference, not a matter of nothing. Child abuse doesn't give an F about your opinions, about how you like it, about how you not like it. Are you forcing a child to be your slave? Yes or no? And none of the Scientology parents can say no, because they were all grooming the word salad language so that they could treat their kids like they were pawns, like they were peons. We've covered this with Lisa Marie. How many times does she denounce Priscilla? How many times does Lisa scream, my mom was a terrible mother. Priscilla didn't give an F about me. Priscilla would scream at me, would yell at me, would want me to be all PR, would tell me that I'm a disgusting disgrace and I should really get myself together. Yeah. There you go, Karen Bass. Sounding like a spokesperson for Scientology. I mean, I was like, is she a Scientologist? Has she done the courses? Because you know what? She's very well versed on the creed Why don't you read the Joburg Sec Check, Karen Bass, where they ask you, have you ever raped anyone? Why don't you do that? And see if you can reconcile your fake pitch about, oh, the creed. Look, you guys, they really want to save people because they wrote some creed that no one gives an F about inside of the hotel, other than to go like this to themselves. Oh, I'm such a great person. Giving myself a pat in the back. Exactly. Nobody cared when DOA was at the police station. Kelly was talking to a police officer at the counter. He was not interested. Not writing down everything she said, not concerned, no concerned female officer. I mean, again, you guys, this the betrayal, the trivialization, the dehumanization of our pain. The LAPD is proud to be doing what they're doing. You all saw their smirks. You all saw how little they give an F. You all saw how willing they've been to be doing what they're doing. Hello, ex-witness Vernon. Are you going to read from Mike Rinder's entire book? I don't think I would do that. It's just a book full of lies, you guys. There's not even enough to cover. Like everything that man says is a false pitch, it's total misinformation campaign to sanitize his own image, just like he did for his grandmaster daddy, convicted felon L Ron Hubbard. So, I wanted to do that for Lisa because I wanted to advocate for her because I saw how horrible she was being treated and how, she's still in her own book is still blaming herself for all the horrible abuse that she was subjected to. And that's what's so dangerous about this, you guys, because when children get literally groomed from birth to blame themselves, the abusers get off scot-free. And where is Lisa these days? Nowhere to be found. So thank you for your question. But, A Billion Lies, we are not interested in his book. State-sponsored child trafficking is exactly it. All states and government agencies, in my opinion. I mean, that's what it's giving. That's what it's giving. That's what the facts are showing, to our disgust, to our shock. But we also know what they've been doing to have that. So the parents of these children need to be put in jail. I mean, absolutely. Several of them do need to be put in jail, and all of them need to stop subjecting their kids to what they are getting off on as adults. They need to grow the F up. They are not children, you guys. And that's what I said is so dangerous about the Scientology rhetoric. The parents become the children. They become infantile degenerates. They become the Lululand. Oh, I'm such an OT. I used to live in this lifetime. I was Cleopatra in another. You have no idea how special I am. Calm the F down, Scientology parents. You are nothing but you are just you. There's no hierarchy. There's no echelon. We don't give an F how many certificates you have. If you've exposed your child to be a slave, you've committed a felony. And committing a felony should result in you seeing a jail cell. That's what the law is supposed to do, to make an example out of you. So any other parent going, oh, you know what I really would love to do? Role play that my child is a slave, make him think that he is completely capable of role playing being my slave, and then have a religious experience at my own child's expense. So that's what gets you exactly where Jane Elvis Presley is the best forever should land you. in a jail cell. And then all the other Scientology parents that are there, oh, you know what? Let me take my child out of Delphi. Let me take my child to not go to a course anymore. Let me make sure my child doesn't get audits. Let me make sure my child's not being ethics handled by randoms inside of a hotel. That's our message to all the Scientology parents. Stop the abuse of kids. If you thought it wasn't abuse, guess what? It is. Whatever you think doesn't change the facts. Audits are abuse, ethics handlings are abuse, and disgusting grooming courses are abuse. The only three things Scientology has to offer are abuse to all kids. There is no exception. There is no way for a child to be okay with it. So stop exposing your child to what you get off on. It's that simple. It's that literally simple. Mary, thank you for advocating for Lisa Marie, who never knew love after her father died. The abuse she suffered at the hands of her own mother is ghastly. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, she was 11. Another girl that was 11 brought to Scientology by Priscilla, compliments of John Travolta, who ensnared her, who exposed an underage child to Scientology. You, John Travolta, are also full of blood in your literal hands. Paid surrogate of L Ron Hubbard, you guys. We found a receipt of L Ron Hubbard giving John Travolta $1,700 because she's been doing so much to recruit a lot of people right around the time that Lisa and her mother were recruited. So John Travolta is up to his neck and ears in complicity of why Lisa was exposed to be abused by Priscilla. Priscilla didn't act alone. She used her little buddy, bestie John Travolta, to do it. Parents that left are in denial of the child abuses sicken me. Yeah, rather be in Maui. It is sickening. There is no other emotion to have when you know that the innocence of children is just being siphoned away, brokered to people that do not give an F if the innocence of a child is ripped. So hopefully Cece starts actually setting an example. If all of them took themselves to the FBI, you guys, if 100 Scientology parents actually came clean and went to the FBI and went to Homeland Security and said, I want to cooperate in this criminal investigation. I can testify to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's all it would take for the abuses of kids to stop. So we can only do so much. We can only denounce, we can only declare what in the hell they've done, which is not easy on any survivor to have to be doing this level of heavy lifting, which is something you guys are facilitating by providing us a safe space for us to advocate for these unthinkable criminal acts that were perpetrated on us without us knowing or understanding what in the hell was going on, with them making us feel like we were complicit in the racketeering child trafficking scheme. And no children ever consented to be a part of this. And there's so many kids that were groomed so young that then they become adults like Lisa, and then she brought her own kids to Scientology. And then look at what happened with Ben. I mean, the cycle of abuse just goes and goes and goes. Even if you're the most well-intentioned mother, your maternal instincts are stripped because of L Ron Hubbard. How is that not a crime? What type of mother says, you know what, I really would like to be stripped of my maternal instincts and to start distorting reality. So every time I abuse my child and then they don't like it, I get a power trip. This is, in a nutshell, trading their own children for a certificate and infantilization. I mean, There's nothing else to L Ron Hubbard, you guys. There's nothing else they give in that hotel. Here, a book, how you are a super duper duper whatever L Ron Hubbard is selling. And they're all playing a game. That's what they call it. Oh, we're playing a game, you guys. And I mean, again, they're all adults playing games, adult games, and grabbing their certificates and being really proud of the certificate that they get. Because those certificates do, in fact, mean that they have a power dynamic and balance that is indefensible, that is happening as we speak, that whatever Scientology parent thought it was great and wonderful to have that power dynamic and balance over your child, double check if that was a good idea. Right now is when you need to actually double check on that. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much again for listening, for caring, for helping us advocate for a day where no more children get abused with full impunity inside the Scientology Blue Building, inside the Fort Harrison Hotel, inside the Manor Hotel, inside AOSH UK, inside all of their disgusting adult-only at best play dens that all parents decided to bring their kids to. As a community, my hope is that you guys can all become empowered as advocates, because this is not here to just be like, oh, all of this dysfunction and all of this abuse. The abuse needs to end. The abuse needs to stop. And the only way it's going to happen is by people understanding what the facts are, by the sanitization and the whitewashing and the sane washing. Imagine trying to pitch L Ron Hubbard as a sane person. That's called sane washing. That's called falsely purporting that this disgusting convicted felon that pitched that 7-year-old girls should be okay with being passionately kissed by a grown man is something that should continue to be pitched in America as a so-called religious belief by a so-called American-bred God who also happens to be a convicted felon. A contrary fact is what L Ron Hubbard taught us when we investigate things. When things are contrary, then the other thing is bullshit. And in this case is we're going to save our world by convincing kids that they should be slaves for adults. So how is that world really being saved? So I appreciate all your comments. Please like, please subscribe, please leave any questions of what we discuss in the comments so we continue to demand accountability and we continue to expose all the politicians, all the corrupt LAPD people that don't want to literally do anything about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.